Right, morning all. Shallowing the golf club again, because apparently this is an important topic and people want to dive a little more into shallowing the golf club. So today we're going to chuck another drill at you that you potentially haven't seen. That might give you a completely different look at the way in which you think about the downswing and where you think force comes from, and can it affect your delivery. Yeah, it's cold. Let's get going. Right, so I think the first thing we've got to find out is what is the biggest culprit in not shallowing the golf club. So shallowing the golf club is just simply seeing the golf club lay down in transition. So the shaft actually gets shallower in your transition. So up to the top of the backswing, the golf club shallows out in some degree. Now, the amount it shallows doesn't have to be a fashion statement. You don't have to see the big Gucci drop, okay? That is not something that is probably going to help you. Just simply understanding that a subtle shallowing can really help. Now, you take some of the world's best players throughout this game, you would see people like Colin Montgomery have a very sort of steep takeaway and a subtle shallowing, but it is still a shallowing nonetheless. Now, the biggest thing that I see for people that struggle to shallow the golf club is pressure. Okay, it is pressure in the hands and arms in transition and probably throughout, but definitely in the downswing sequence. For me, a lot of people apply too much vertical pressure on the handle in transition. So if I put the golf club at the top of my backswing in a nice spot, okay, and I put a little bit of pressure on the handle, and I mean just a touch, you're going to see that shaft steepen out. Okay, so that means if I put any vertical pressure on the shaft, it's game over in terms of shallowing it out. And it is pretty much as simple as that. So if we're saying pressure is the key element that is going to control the shaft, then the drill better be surrounding pressure and letting go of pressure rather than applying pressure. So this is the drill. Right, bit of a disclaimer, do this in somewhere safe, on the grass, on somewhere soft, with an old golf club. You'll get what I mean. Be careful. Right, so I'm going to set myself up in a sort of a workstation. Okay, I'm going to sort of set myself up and the alignment stick is in front of my hands at address. Okay, so it's directly over the golf club at address. Now, ideally, if I don't manipulate the golf shot, I should be able to work up to the top of the backswing and deliver that golf club back underneath this alignment stick without hurting my left and lead arm. Most people that steepen the shaft in transition, when I say most people, there's probably two varieties of this. You can steepen the shaft, the look, by turning your chest. Now that shaft looks steep. Or the one we're going to look at today is by applying too much pressure, vertical pressure on the handle. So you can sort of leave everything in the right spot, but you just tilt or tip, I guess, tip the club head over the hands in transition. That is another way of getting it a bit steep. So to get rid of that one, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go to the top of the backswing and pause. Okay, up to the top of the backswing and pause. And then slowly but surely, start and learn to let go of the golf club. Okay, now what that is going to do is going to give you the appearance of the golf club floating. Think Garcia, put that image in your mind. In fact, let's have a little look. Here's Garcia.
He's actually using the same irons that he won with in 2017.
So looking at Garcia, you can see that he definitely just lets that golf club, seemingly like magic, just drop and pitch behind him. Now, he's not pushing the golf club behind him. It is almost like it's floating. Now, in order to get that look of no change of pitch on the shaft, so we're not seeing this movement where you pull down the handle, we're actually seeing no real resistance and the golf club drop. Now, in order to get that feel, you've got to start and allow the golf club to drop. Now, this is where I'd say be careful. Now start and let it drop all the way through to the ground. So if I was to set myself up to the top of the backswing, let it drop, you're going to see the golf club work behind me. Now that is me taking all pressures out of my hands. This is why, don't do it on concrete or anything. Up to the top of the backswing, let it drop. Very simple move. Now ideally the golf club's always going to drop to your sort of behind you. Do it one more time, up to the top. Now that is where we want the golf club to be, always as close as possible to your heels, rather than you pushing it away from you. Now if you were to put any pull down positioning on the club, so any of this, you would see the golf club just go miles away. So if I do that movement, be careful. You see how far that golf club has gone. So that is me doing this move. That is me doing this move in transition. Okay, I'm going to set myself up, go up to the top of the backswing, and I'm going to let the golf club just drop behind me. So I'll do that slow motion, let the golf club just drop. That is no pressure on the handle and I've got no issues. I don't have to bend anywhere to get the golf club, I'm job good. This is me pulling down on the handle and then letting go of the golf club. I will do it slow motion just to be safe. The golf club's gone miles away. That is not what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to give you an idea of what it takes for you to go up to the top of the backswing, feel like you've got no pressure on the handle, and then you can start and get the golf club back out in front of you. It's going to feel like no pressure, it's going to feel like weak hands, it's going to feel like you're not gripping the golf club, it's also going to feel like you are delaying your turn, and it's also going to feel like a deeper hand playing to many of you. A lot of people like to get the golf club working much more this way. So a great drill for many of you to go up to the top of the backswing, start and see the golf club pitch behind you, and I'm not trying to push it behind me, I'm just allowing the golf club to shallow out. So I'm letting the golf club do what it wants to do. Gravity's taken over, and it's a very, very simple feel. So just allow the golf club to work behind you. It's a great drill, just be a little bit more sort of savvy with the way you do it, but that will shallow you out. There is no doubt about it. That will shallow you out. That will change a few perspectives.